So I love having this temporary solar power here right now. I was tossed up, you guys. I thought I'd wait a few days until they finished the back room and all, but I'm glad I went ahead and connected. It was super simple, and they got power cords running off of it, and they got lights going off of it. I've got this refrigerator running off of it right now, nice and cool. Ice inside of those bags in there, and even ran hot water. Made me some coffee, and all of it. It's got a load meter here, and the load meter is at the bare minimum mark. That's the mark it's on even when you first turn it on. It's still got all that gauge to go. No problem. They're burning lights there right now. They're running a grinder. So pretty cool. I'm pretty happy for that. I picked up a box to put this breaker in today. It's not like the breakers in the US. It's a different setup in case you see that here. Breakers have the positive and negative both go through there. However you want to call it, your neutral, your line and your common, and however terminology you all want to use it that fits you best. But let's just keep it simplified. Your positive and your negative both go through the breaker, not only on this DC breaker, but the same way here in this country on the AC breakers as well. Both legs go through. You don't have that bus bar with tying all of them up on one side and then just all your load going through the breaker. Now they both pass through on the breakers here in this country, and I think many of your Asian countries. That being said about those breakers, there are options though. You can get breakers that are like what we're used to in the West. They do sell them here, and I'm going to weigh my options before I put my permanent service panel in. I'm really going to look at that. Now, there is a blogger, not a vlogger, a blogger, gentleman that lives probably not even a kilometer from me here, that he covered his journey of building his house, him and his wife, years ago here. And he was an electrician back in the US, and of course he didn't like some of their electrical practices here, and he had some problems out of some of their electrical as well. So he decided that he would seek out, after they had some pretty major issues, that he would put a Western style service panel in. And funny enough, there is a company, as you're going back towards Molo here and Iloilo, that's called Western Lamp. And Western Lamp is not just a lamp store, it is a electrical supply company, and they have actually a lot of other stuff in there as well. Well, you can get the American style boxes, service panels and breakers in there. And I believe, if I might be speaking out of turn, I'm not sure, but if I'm not mistaken, that's what he ended up changing to. What I'm worried about, let's just say that I put something in here that's not the common, and something goes out on a breaker goes out. Well, if it's something that has to be imported and it's not really that common here, they might end up with a problem finding it. What if Western Lamp was to go out of business? What if a circuit went down, you need to replace a breaker, and you can't find one? That's where modifications will start being taken place, especially say I'm not around. Say that I've went to the great beyond, and my wife's here living, and she had to have repairs done in the future. I mean, let's just be a realist here, right? Well, I wanted something that she would be able to easily be able to find a part for. So I think I'm probably going to go ahead and stick with the Asian style, the common Philippine style breakers. Now, I will tell you this. It's also a matter of how the electrician, and I don't think there's really a degree that they get here. I think somebody just starts working around it and they figured a little bit out and they become an electrician. I'm not trying to be insulting with that, but I think it's kind of how it works, because what I've experienced here so far, personally myself, with what was supposed to be an electrician, I've got questions. So, my late brother-in-law, and there's an example of somebody not here anymore and somebody else having to do repairs on work he had installed. But my late, rest in peace, brother-in-law, Toby, when he was building that other place that we're in over there, he wanted none of these locals here. He wanted all professionals in all aspects. I want professional, which a bunch of them took it as a joke and an insult. So he seeked out these recommended people. And so he brought all these outsiders in there into the compound to where there was already, you know, people that knew just as much as them right there that could use that work. But he brought these outsiders in, and their work was not professional. I mean, it was not. We've had some problems with the electrical over there in that house, and I'm having a problem right now. In fact, y'all don't know it, but I was sitting there and a circuit blew up and caught our couch on fire, caught our ottoman on fire. That's this trip. Since we've been here, I don't think I bothered to tell y'all about it. And that particular outlet that shorted was all the way down, not even maybe an inch, 2 inches, if even that. It was actually notched in down to the baseboard, right off from the floor. And there is a window unit right above it. I think that window unit leaked some water around it during the storm, and it dripped and went into this, you know, 220 to 240 volt single phase, one leg electricity. Man, I was sitting right there at the desk. Boom! It blew up. I mean, it was not no zzz in a breaker trip. That blew up. And I mean, it blew up, and it blew out a fireball that caught our couch on fire instantly. Melinda had to run and get water. We had to stand the ottoman all up and start pouring water on it. It burned a hole right through it like a laser beam, man. I'm telling you. This is no exaggeration. It's no joke. And we still have those circuits cut off over there right now and run an extension cord in there to the TV from another room. Because even if I went down there and fixed those wires, the problem of a leaky window unit still above, which needs to be yanked out and thrown away to scrap anyway because the salt done ate it. But it's faulty work. And then the wire coming outside from the utility company, from your meter going into our service panel, man, they use this little old light gauge wire. There's no way it can handle all the loads in that house. You know, Toby built the house with 4 air conditioners in it. He had a deep freeze going. He had that refrigerator going, microwave going. You got vent hood, all these lights, TVs, camera system, that water cooler that's got hot water as well in it. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And I bet the wire on those mains is not even but a number 8. If even that, I'm telling you. And then it jumps from there to breaker to breaker to breaker inside, because I told you how they do that here is your both legs go through the breaker, you know, your ground or whatever you want to call it, because everybody gets so technical when you start trying to talk electricity. But I'm just trying to keep on layman's terms, okay? So on layman's terms, you know, you got a positive and a negative, so let's just keep it like that for simplicity of other people. I know there's all these proper words, line, load, common, neutral, ground, you know. So layman's terms, positive and negative. Well, that wires, they just jump like a daisy chain, loop, 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 loop over to the next breaker, providing power. There's not actually a bus bar in there. You know, they just go in and back out, in and back out. So you got to make all these little short loops. They do it on the wall outlets too. You got a 2-gang box, you know, I mean, like a 2 plugs, like right here. Like right here, for instance. And just do a little. This is an education channel, right? Let me show you something. So let's just use these two different outlets here, for instance. This one's got 3, this one's got 2. In behind this isn't just all connected together when you buy it and you just run 2 wires and boom, you're ready to go like in the US. Nope, you've got to make a jumper to every one of these in there yourself. A jumper, a jumper, a jumper. So power comes in, but then it has to jump down to the next one, down to the next one. And you're responsible to make that. It is just an accident waiting to happen always. I tell you, they put the wrong size wire in there. They undergauge it because they want to be cheap. Copper wire is expensive here. So they go usually with too small and it burns up. Well, that is what's going on here. Now, of course, let's put this into factor too. This is a single phase 220 volts up to 240 here in the Philippines, where your leg in the US is like a 110 to 120, maybe spike up 130 or something, but you know, it's called a 120, 110, 120 volt. Well, you know, it's double that here on that one leg. So it's higher voltage, less amps. Less amps means with higher voltage you can use smaller wire. I know that. But when I'm talking about smaller wire, I'm talking about smaller wire, what we would call speaker wire. That's what I'm talking about. And they will be running this stuff everywhere. It is absolutely insane. And this is the things that I want to watch out about. This is why this is a hands-on project. Another thing, watch who made your wire. There is some domestic made, Philippine made wire, and there is imported wire here. And let me tell you, when you go buy it, you will instantly know the difference. That Philippine wire, that coating on the outside of it is very soft, rubbery feeling, and it's real thick. And so you look like you're getting something more than you are, you know. It's buyer beware on that, because the wire inside, do not judge it by what that thick casing looks like on the outside. And then if you do your homework, you'll find the good wires like we have in the US too. So I've also noticed that that rubberized coating on that wire does not last. So be careful, you know, be careful. If you're doing what they call Pacquiao, which means that you hired somebody and they did all the work, set price, and just did it, and maybe they're going to put that cheap stuff so that they can put more of that peso in their pocket. Think about that. You know, supply the materials yourself. Even if you hire the labor all in, do labor all in, but don't do materials all in that. I'm telling you. I'm not saying it's 100% of the time that way, but let's just say 99, maybe. I'm just telling the truth now. This is truth telling. I know a lot of people want to candy coat and make everything all daisies and butterflies, but I'm not that way. If somebody's to be praised, I'm going to praise them. If something is done right, I'm going to praise them for doing it right. And if somebody is doing something wrong, I'm going to tell on it, man. I'm just telling you. Another thing about this local made stuff, and one of our subscribers has already been in the same boat and given me advice, and they are right, because I'd already found out the same thing. These little local made electric boxes up here, like I still had the cover on that one, they just crumble. I mean, they crumble. It don't matter exposed to the sun, not exposed to the sun. It doesn't matter, just inside the wall. Just low quality. So you've got to seek out good stuff. They gave me some advice to go look for some particular boxes at Wilcon, and I need to go there and do that. This is where I learned from a subscriber that there's an option out there that I didn't know about, and I really appreciate you, George, on that. So I'm gonna get off here, enjoy my cup of coffee brewed off solar panel. I like it. I will follow up more later.